Hey, how are you? My name's Salt. Welcome back to Magic the Gathering Arena. Today we're looking at Taco Niv, or Niv-Mizzet Supreme. You know, like a Supreme Taco. Anyways, he is a new card from March of the Machine Aftermath. He's a very cool one. He's a WUBRG commander, aka 5 color. He is just WUBRG to cost, just one of each color, which means he's moderately cheap as far as WUBRG commander goes. He has flying, and he has hexproof from monocolored, which is pretty cool. That doesn't stop him from being counterspelled, mind you, but it does mean that removal that targets him can't be stuff like, well, you know, the classics, the Path to Exiles, the double lightning bolts, the swords to plowshares. Just can't hit him. Just can't do it. He is hexproof from all of that stuff, which makes him pretty good into a lot of matchups. You can be pretty safe to be just put on board unless your opponent is running board wipes into certain colors. That makes him almost untouchable, honestly. He is very dangerous, and he has an even cooler secondary effect. Each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard that's exactly 2 colors has Jumpstart, and oh my goodness. Well, hang on, just wait a gosh darn minute here. You mean to tell me that almost all of my cards have 2 colors in them? Oh. But yeah, that's the general idea of the deck, is that you play a lot of really powerful 2-drops that are multicolored so that you can play them multiple times from your graveyard with Niv. There's also a handful of really powerful 3-drops that do similar things, like Absorb, like Anguished Unmaking, Legion to Ashes, Mortify. A lot of this deck involves black and white in some way, shape, or form. Orzhov has some really powerful removal spells. Being able to cast them all twice with Niv-Mizzet is incredibly strong. We do have a couple of other win cons, such as Narset Lined Exile, being able to play the cards in a different manner, but also steal cards from our opponent. We have Kaikar Wind's Fury, here to give us extra mana when we are playing all those jump-started spells by making a bunch of spirits. Whirlwind of Thought to help us draw a just ton of cards. Same as Archmage Emeritus. As for the mana base, it's a little janky. You might notice that here we got something called Baldur's Gate in here. It's because we are running a ton of gates and Circuitous Route to help us go find a bunch of them. It is a great way to make sure that we have all our mana colors. It's a great way to enable different gates we have, and it's a great way to use Chromatic Lantern as well. As for just other win cons, we have stuff like Lorehold Command, we have stuff like Double Vision, stuff in here like Niv-Mizzet Perun, and then just Professor Onyx and Shark Typhoon. Timeless Lotus is a bit of a harder to play around spell, but if you're just kind of playing a kind of, okay, well, I'm removing stuff, I'm drawing cards, I'm getting my mana ramp out, it's pretty worth it to just get Timeless Lotus out on the board, because Timeless Lotus is just Niv-Mizzet. You tap Timeless Lotus and you can play Niv-Mizzet off of it. I've done that in a couple of games in my testing so far, and it's worked pretty well. Overall, I think this commander is really fun. I don't think I've built him very well. I think this is a pretty average deck that stars him. It is a little hard to play, a lot of the cards. But overall, I think it's quite fun, and I really like how this Niv-Mizzet is quite similar to the other Niv-Mizzet out there, which I do not have a copy of, I believe. I can find him. Not you. Where did the other Niv-Mizzet go? Oh, mein Gott. There it is, Niv-Mizzet Reborn. They're very, very similar in a lot of ways. They're both just, you know, Niv-Mizzet, 5-color, flyer, with a big old booty. Our current one is 5/5, this other one is 6/6. But this one is a bit more of a card advantage engine in the command zone, because it allows you to go and grab any number of cards out of your deck that are the dual color, whereas this one is more of a graveyard recursion, play those cool spells again. So it's less about the initial oomph of the spell with Niv-Mizzet Supreme, and more about how much value you can get out of playing the spell twice, which is why stuff like Expressive Iteration is in here and just gonna do its best. Stuff like Notion Rain is in here because Notion Rain surveils 2 and then draws 2, meaning that you can dump 2 other pretty decent things into the graveyard if you don't need them right now, but think you might need them later. Then you get to draw some more with Notion Rain. Overall, I think the deck's really fun. I've had a lot of fun toying with it. I do think this commander is going to end up being stuck in Hell Queue, and I think you should probably be wary of that. Deck list will be down in the description, and let's just hop right into things. Opponent's going first, playing Badrock Apex of Thunder. Kind of a weird commander, but I've seen it be powerful. We'll keep this hand. I'm not exactly sure what colors I'm going to play these on, but we have pretty good mana ramp, so Honestly, white and black is typically the best color combo to play it on. Well, don't I have egg on my face? Oh well. Arcane Signet does make up for our mistake. So they're playing Saheeli. Weird.
Like
Play this on black. Play the Celestus. Play Paradise Druid. We have Croaking Counterpart able to just clone something, which will be fun and cool. Being able to clone a Stormkiln artist sounds pretty sick to me. Gimme that. Now, I have a thing with Magecraft and making instances and stuff. Sad Robot, they get to mana ramp. This one with their Stormkiln, we just trade with a Mere Convert. There's no reason for us to really not. I don't think that we can technically steal Solemn and then use it to gain mana. I can do this, right? Yeah, I can do this.
I burn with power.
It's mid-0, and we will swing this guy at Saheeli. This is a 7-3 with Trample and Indestructible and Lifelink. I don't know if they just didn't realize that it had Indestructible and Lifelink and Trample and all that stuff, or they just really wanted to draw a card. We can almost play our own Niv-Mizzet Payroon here, which would be pretty cool. Electrostatic Infantry. What a neat card. So they're going to mutate and play any target non-creature spell with mana value 3 or less from their graveyard without paying the cost. So they get to play Saheeli, I guess.
This should be fun.
Well, there goes their commander and their creature exiled. That happened.
Break free and fight.
We're just gonna go ahead and kill that Saheeli again with a big old 11-5 frog. We're just trying to get ahead on the life game. I feel like it'll probably end up mattering eventually if their whole game plan is to bring back stuff over and over with Vadrik. So being able to just get super far ahead to start here will be pretty nice, and especially when we can just like start playing Niv-Mizzet. Or, well, Niv-Mizzet. Or Niv-Mizzet. We have 2 Nivs. So they can mutate onto the Stormkiln artist, I guess? Probable Alliance. I didn't realize that card was in Arena. I need that in more of my decks. Say hi to Niv-Mizzet. He's pretty cool. We could yoink the Volcapete.
Buy us more time.
But I think it's better to just hang back. We have a Dovin's Vita. Counter any non-creature spell that I think will cause us problems. Pretty cool. And we have Niv-Mizzet Payroon as a draw engine. Boop. You know, I'd love for you to do that, but I'd rather not. Boop. The reason we're just doing this is because if they try and, like, board wipe again, I'm just going to Otawara and Niv back to hand. Because, from the looks of things, my opponent's probably going to... Oh, we're just going to do this then. Much easier. Goodbye. Now you just have a Vadrik who didn't do anything. Ha-ha! I'm amazed that we managed to pull off that win on 4 lands, but I guess super early Croaking Counterpart to steal their Treasure Maker does wonders, really. GG's, Vadrak, Apex of Thunder, you were actually a little terrifying. I feel like if you had been able to get off the ground, you would have crushed me with a million tokens. I need to make a copy of Improbable Alliance. I didn't know this was on Arena. Ah, so cool. GG's, opponent. We are terrified and playing into Karamonic's Rat King, but we have a pretty keepable hand, and we have a Supreme Verdict that we will eventually be able to play, I think. Do we play the Scrap Gorger here? I don't know if my opponent is playing Rat King as Rat Tribal, like a real Giga Chat of culture. Or if they're playing Caramonics like, ooh, what am I thinking of? They're just playing it like Rat, not really Rat Tribal, but like fake Rat Tribal. What do I mean by fake Rat Tribal? Essentially, they just play 40 plus copies of Rat Colony in their deck, and they don't actually play anything that's like cool or fun. Let's find out. We'll find out literally right here and now. Do they actually play anything? No, they're boring. I don't know how I know they're boring. All they hit was a single Rat Colony off of that. And we will void wipe them in a second here. Tap you for white. Tap you for blue. Go ahead and do that. We can drown in the lock now because they now have two things down there in the graveyard. I think. I thought it was its controller graveyard. No, we can't yet. Oh, we can counter that, though. Bye-bye. No extra cards for you. They do have to lose the 2 life as a casting cost, I believe, though, which is pretty neat. And now we just play Niv, who basically doesn't die to what my opponent's doing. Because they basically need to find a way to kill Niv through combat, because they are only in black, meaning that they can never target Niv with a spell. They would need to board wipe to get rid of him. I guess they could play like a Soul Shatter, Sacrifice effect. That is technically possible, but they don't want to do that. We both know they don't want to do that. They're playing Rat Tribal. There's no reason under the sun that they would really want to actually do that. We're going to sacrifice a land for it. Which sounds a little weird, but I just want more cards. And now we have access to drown in the lock and able to dump out Neoform. Neoform is a card I put in here on a whim. It sometimes works out, but on average it's not very good. They have 4 lands down there. And drown this in the lock by discarding a Neoform and jump-starting it. This right here is when Niv-Mizzet Supreme really gets out of hand really, really fast. My opponent tried really hard to set up early and just kind of ramp like crazy. Doesn't quite work. Oh, they got the ninjutsu in a rat who does, I don't know, has lifelink? Okay. Not gonna lie, I'm gonna do this again. Dumping my land, sacking my land, and drawing more cards. Could I have done that differently and probably better? Yes. Do I care? No. No, I'm just trying to get as much value as I can. My opponent's commander costs 8. Let's do that. Alright, do they actually get rats here? They get a Plague Crafter's Familiar, right? We will Surveil too. We'll put the land on the bottom. I don't feel like I need it right now. Unfortunately, that thing has 3 mana. We will go get 2 gate cards. One of which being there isn't one of which Boros for funsies, I guess. Play a land, and we'll chill. We have no reason to swing in right now. And we re-ramped ourselves back out to a normal state of mind. Metallic Mimic. So the rats get to be slightly bigger. If this gets like too out of hand, then I think my opponent might actually stand a chance at doing something. I can just Supreme Verdict them. An artifact that is an artifact. That bodes really well for me. Destroy an artifact and deal 2 damage to something. Let's blow up one of their death touchy boys. That. And go ahead and do that. We have as many cards in our graveyard as we have in our hand at this point, and it's kind of funny, actually. That basically gets rid of all of their rats having toxic, meaning it's just like one less thing I have out. I am now basically on the hunt for... Man, they're just really going all in on that rat, huh? And they whiffed. That's very unfortunate. I mean, I can chump block that rat and then just like replay my commander. Honestly, I don't think that's a terrible idea. I have tons of open mana. Not exactly scared of a bunch of little baby rats. Oh god, I clicked the wrong thing. Whirlwind of Thought is amazing in this deck because now I am actually not net negative. This currently means that I basically can't cost out their Caramonics at this point. I will basically eventually always have a problem, so to speak. Free card draw. Oh, Shark Typhoon, we win now. And both of those cards are amazing, yeah. We're just going to... Yeah, we're going to get rid of Bedevil here. So we can make some sharks. Have some nice little chump blockers going. Ooh, Kaikar! Vanishing Verse and the land can go. We will chill now. My opponent is now essentially dead. They just don't know it yet. Yeah? Okay, I guess. When you're desperate. We did finally get some more poison on us. Like, I guess they just really wanted to replay their commander, but I'm trying to avoid as much poison as possible. Ah, they hit 2 whole rats. It has fear. But we can kill it. Play Kaikar. Brawl. We'll make a bunch of little things. We'll draw some cards. Okay, math is hard. I need to do math here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We only have 4. We unfortunately need to do it like this. We will minus so we can copy. Target Caramonics. We will dump the Ornithopter of Paradise. We will get a ton of triggers. We will ping them in the face. Make a thing. We will make a thing. We will exile this as well. We will make a thing. We will ping the face. We will... Yeah. We drawed a card in there too. Yeah. Yeah, okay. That sounds cool. I think we win from here. To be fair, I think we won from last turn, but now I really think we win from here. I mean, they could draw a board wipe, but board wipe doesn't kill Ral. Board wipe doesn't get rid of Whirlwind or Shark Typhoon. So I'm not exactly that scared here. The best they can do is swing at me with really big rats. And I am making a nigh infinite number of sharks. This is where people do the Omewa Motion Dairu, right? Because, like, they're dead, but they don't know it yet. This thing is, I don't have Corrupted yet. So, I'm pretty good in that regard. They can swing in these 3 creatures, but blocks, blocks, blocks. Do we... I mean... Yeah, we despark, right? Oh no, we don't actually have anything that's expensive enough. We can Prismari Command, though. Deal 2 damage. Then I guess destroy their Cloud Key. Just to make life a little harder on them. We will discard the Despark because we can play it back from our graveyard, and we have a billion triggers. Do we just win through combat now? I think we just went through combat now after that, actually. 7. No, okay, yeah, we just went through combat. Wood game. I'm not gonna lie, my brain was kind of like, okay, so how do I clear out the board state? And I forgot. They don't have a flyer. Rats don't have wings. Shocker, I know, but rats don't have wings. They are flightless little things. I think that went pretty well. I think my opponent got a little unlucky on their spins of the Karamonix wheel. I do take back what I said. They were not just a rat colony deck. They were, in fact, rat tribal, and I respect you for that. I've run into a lot of people playing the rat commanders who don't really play rat tribal. They just kind of play 40 copies of rat colony. And, while that's very cool, I find it to be quite a dull matchup because it basically boils down to, all right, do I get enough creatures out to chump block? Do I get enough removal to make sure they don't get too big? And do I get a board wipe when it becomes overwhelming? This is much more fun. I have to worry about what each rat does, and I respect it. I respect you, Karamonix person. GG's opponent. On to the next. We have all the lands, including all the colors, playing into mono white and a Fenza Kin Tree Spirit. I think that makes little tiny dorks bigger. No reason to have to pay life for this. We're not planning a turn 1 play. We are just going to try and ramp out super hard. As fast as possible. 3 planes for them. That bodes decently well. If they're playing something like that, it means they probably didn't hit their 3rd land in the first place. But I could be wrong. Alright, so far this is working out pretty well. We will go ahead and hit this. We will get... Honestly, I think we're just going to get, like, black and red mana. We don't have either one of those by, like, default. So in case they find a way to do some stuff, this will work out. On the major plus side, I've said this several times before, Niv-Mizzet has the whole, like, hexproof or monocolored thing. Interesting. I think we might just hold up by Ganjo here. Yeah, that might be the right play. That's an enchantment. That's an enchantment. Or actually, we can play Brawl and Karizev, actually. And then that lets me hold up by Ganjo. So this way, if I play something in a future turn, we're maybe allowed to play something else for free. This allows us to play Prismari Command and then get, like, Faithful Mending for free as well. Well, that sucks. I mean, the trigger still goes off on the stack. Right? It goes off in a funny way to where we don't get the thing, but it's fine. It doesn't really bother me. Unfortunately, we're literally going to play Chandra as a removal spell. I am sorry, lovely. But we just can't.
We have to win this fight.
We just can't let them get that thing, let that thing get any bigger. Just straight up, we cannot let that fly. We physically cannot let enough get any big. 3/6 double striker, a little scary for Niv, but overall I think this will work out in my favor. We will expressive iteration here. What? Round in the lock in my hand? That's a 5-drop. Put that in my library. Drop that off. We can play beginning of your upkeep. Yeah, Paradise Druid is gonna die here. Yeah, this is why this commander is terrifying. Ah, Supreme Verdict. Yeah, everyone's gonna die here. I'll tap you for blue. Sorry, Nivy Poo. Everything must go. I wish I could counter that effect, but we'll be able to probably counter it the next time it comes up. Hopefully we'll be able to just play Double Vision on this upcoming turn. Anyway, and counter that just to make sure that they don't. I don't want them to get that card back out and start re-ramping their board state, because they're probably going to play it and then playing afterwards. We can double Faithful Mending off of this, gaining a ton of life and cycling super hard. Or we can probably just despark when they get to replay their God Eternal Catch-Up. Cassia's Welcome doesn't bother me. Go and double Faithful Mending here. It will just gain us so much. It'll be nice. We don't really need mana right now. I'd really rather have the despark. I'd really just rather hold on to the despark. Do they have a 4-drop or bigger? No, it's a 3-drop. Man, despark never works into these tiny little decks. Unfortunately, this guy is always put into exile, but we do kind of have to just go ahead and hit it. We physically cannot... We will do this for grabbing Chandra back. Chandra will allow us to start triple spelling, which will be incredibly terrifying to just about any opponent. And there's no reason to do anything other than just plus her for a little more loyalty. This next turn we'll be able to play Niv and then kickstart something crazy probably. Sanctuary Wad and start the despark. Just add like
Use it wisely.
I guess? Because that okay, that leaves us open with enough mana to do the thing. I get to do that, but that was so loud. Little despark dropping that. We get to target it 3 whole times, I guess. The mid-0. Alright, well, that worked well. We now literally get triple spells every time we cast actually anything. And they can't target it with anything, which bodes well for me. Yeah, they are not allowed to target Niv-Mizzet Supreme. I can understand the scoop. I was about to get so much advantage and get so many answers to so many things, but I'm laughing because I also got a 3rd way to copy spells. I had a 3rd way to copy spells on Rail. That would have been really dumb. Chandra, my goat, thank you for saving me from that game. Without drawing Chandra there to wipe out their board state and then bring her back to just re-ramp me into Niv and cause problems, I definitely think I would have lost. GG's. I feel like this card is going to be a real problem in the queue. I think it's going to pop up around like Heliod levels in terms of like being a white beatdown make you cry deck, because they just like if you can play a bunch of like smaller stuff in the beginning and then just like slowly grow it as you get to your bigger threats and bigger threats. I think it'll add up to being a pretty scary thing. Maybe not Heliod levels. Heliod's got some silly stuff, but it'll still be strong. Either way, GG's opponent. Unfortunately, opponent's going first, but we have a pretty solid hand. We are playing into Atraxa, Praetor's Voice. Pretty scary commander all in all. Typically runs like a poison game plan with lots of counter magic and things of the like. We do have Rip Apart to kill off any possible ramp that they could be playing, which is why we played that tap to turn 1. Since they're not doing anything like that, though, we're just going to play Ornithopter. Potentially bait out some removal spells. We basically can't deal with Atraxa once it's lands, to be fair. We would need to, like, double spell the... Replicating Ring. Now there's a Rip Apart hit. Or we could... Let's use Prismari Command, actually. You have a Swan Song over there or something? You literally have a Swan Song. We'll play that tapped. No real reason for us to worry about hitting Atraxa yet. Siege Veteran. I guess that's something we'll just rip apart. Or we'll just play Chandra. Who makes a 1-1, so...
Plan? Fire
This guy makes a 1-1, so my brain was like, okay, so like even at worst... Oh no, it's if something else dies it makes a... Oh, they are very tired of Chandra. Did I have fun? No, they conceded. I think they were just very scared of Chandra, which is very much a thing to be scared of, to be fair. Chandra is terrifying, and Chandra is currently being a standard all-star. Being able to get out of Chandra as early as my turn 4 is pretty terrifying, to be fair. GG's opponent. We are going first, which bodes pretty well because we are playing into Vorinclex, a creature with Hidden Reach. Niv-Mizzet is pretty safe once it lands on board, though, so that bodes well. Just play Reliquary Tower into Archway Commons. There's no real reason to play the Command Tower yet. Ooh, they are already ramping. Archway Commons is a card that I decided to include because if you draw it early like this, you'll often get into a good position. Okay, we have to blow that up. They're not allowed to ramp that hard. And we have to do it now because if we don't, then they'll be able to get the treasure tokens on their turn. Yeah, I killed your little tiny provisioner. Oh no, I stopped your literally most powerful plan that you were gonna go do. Mana ramp. How dare I? I can't believe I've done this. Speaking of mana ramp. Okay, so technically speaking, we have all mana, blue, red. So let's just not get blue or red. Get white and black. Then I think we play Chandra here? I think we play Chandra here, and then just like minus... And we like -1 and blow up Timeless Witness and Elvish Mystic. Do we think they have a way to protect those cards? They might. I could -2 and blow up the 2 bigger threats. You know what? Let's do that.
Stopping tyrants like you is kind of my thing.
Even if they do have ways to protect them, I'm pretty okay with this trade out. Getting out their protection early here.
When I say
Yeah, getting out the protection early here bodes not like terribly well, but decently well. Unfortunately, Chandra does die as a result. It's why it was a bit of a toss-up of a play. Chandra dies now, which sucks, but there's nothing I can do. We can Quandrix command. Fortunately, they are going to mana ramp even harder, and Chandra dies. Very unfortunate. Artifact enchantment or Planeswalker. I can do this, I believe? Yeah, okay, I can totally do it. We're going to double Quandrix command now, and we're going to bounce... You guess I can do this? Bouncing Vorinclex and the Tireless Tracker to hand is like a pretty okay play. It slows them down from what they want to do. They can just replay Vorinclex, go get more forests, profit, but it slows them down. I think can be pretty generally nice. Or they're just going to have Vorinclex Voice of Hunger. Ah, well. We lose access to 2 mana, but we do get to kill their Vorinclex. Did I have fun this match? Yes, I did. That laugh is because they were clearly banking on Vorinclex locking me out of the game. And he was not about to. I was going to have access to 4 mana, 5 mana, including Reliquary Tower. 4 mana, I didn't have any colorless spells. But they didn't know that. But yeah, that worked really well. It was going to give me access to Absorb on the next turn. Raul was going to allow me to scry some good stuff to the top. It was just going to be a rough time in general for my opponent after there. It could have gone terribly for me, but they didn't stick around to find out. GG's. We are going first with a wonderful Jeskai flavored hand, which I love, playing into a Johnny Sleeper Agent. A genuinely terrifying commander who, if left unchecked, will easily just destroy your life. We could Thrilling Discovery, but I think the better plan is to either just, like, maybe Faithful Mending on their turn. And I think the best play is actually just Expressive Iteration. Skrelv's Hive. Wow. I'm so happy to see you. Devil hits Planeswalkers. Pretty happy to see it. We don't have a... We do have a double black, but I don't really want to have to play it. And this might just be a whirlwind of thought turn. But it looks like they are, unfortunately, for everybody's sake, playing a Johnny poison counters. Why do I say unfortunately for everybody's sake? Because I'm not gonna lie, I find most poison counter decks like that to be quite dull. Let's go ahead and do this. I'm dropping Faithful Mending and Eureka Moment to draw 3 cards here. Okay, that went pretty well for me. That could have gone much worse. Unfortunately, it's Ziatora's Proving Ground, not one of the other Tri-lands. But yeah, I think I'm more or less, like, kinda dead. I don't really know if I have a way to get out of this. I guess my best plan is to probably just play Niv and use him to chump block. It's not really chump blocking though. So we have what? Black, red, green, white. So we need blue. Yeah, alright, they're just poison counters. Oh, opponent. You make me sad. This does give us access to all of this flashback shenanigans. Why do I say, oh, my opponent, you make me sad? Because they're just tripling down on playing poison. I just don't find it to be a very fun way to play. That's just my opinion, though. We're able to play Chanja, -X, like several turns in a row here. I can't imagine that this color scheme will...
We will make this world complete.
He goes up to 5 loyalty? Yeah, he goes up to 5. We could, I think we just kill him with Niv, actually. And then we do -3, blowing up 2 of those little guys. Play this on... Do we want double black or double white? We want double white.
This war ends today.
We'll do this. Because this way,
Everyone
now
is
if they
lost
want
to
to kill Chandra, they gotta swing with their little dopes at her and not at face.
Death is temporary. Phyrexia is
And
eternal.
most Niv-Mizzet, not Niv-Mizzets, I'm Niv-Mizzet, they're not Niv-Mizzet. Most poison decks doesn't want to take a turn out of poisoning their opponent to go and kill a planeswalker. But if they don't kill Chandra, they're gonna get really salty really fast, probably. Not literally, but it'll go very well for me if they don't. We can play Teferi and just bounce the Skrell's Hive soon. Do we want to do that? Maybe. I'm not sold yet. I kind of want to get Timeless Lotus out, but I feel like this game is a little too fast-paced. Aha, that works well for me.
No, no, no.
It slows down their poison
happening.
plan, like I was saying. The thing that I don't really think they want to do. Does this kill enchantments? No, it does not. Darn, we don't really have much good enchantment removal. Other than, oh, well, you know, I guess I have trouble seeing. I have 4 extra cards in my hand. Okay, cut me some slack. But yeah, we have Mortify to blow up Skrell's Hive. The bodes pretty well for me. Sereth. So their creatures will have Death Touch once they are tapped. We can kill her, though, I believe. As long as we have the right mana colors, which I believe we do now. Because now there's double black. Kill Sereth. And here's the thing to kill the Skrell's Hive. And yeah, that really cuts down on the amount of poisoning they can do to me. That was a really, really... If I hadn't drawn that extra black source, I wouldn't have been able to do both of those in one turn. So that went really well for me in general. I think the game pace has really slowed down now. I think Niv-Mizzet is going to be a big old thorn in their side because unless they're board wiping me, Mono White won't typically have an answer for Niv-Mizzet. Or well, I say mono white. Green doesn't have good removal. Green has like fight spells, but those are always mono green fight spells. So they're kind of in a tough state of things at the moment. They could have a farewell, and they could get rid of all of my extra free spells. Well, they're not free. My extra spells down in my graveyard. But if they do that, that buys me a turn to play Timeless Lotus, which allows me to play Niv for super cheap, as well as play out stuff like Whirlwind of Thought and Teferi. They're probably considering board wiping here, but I could very well be wrong. They could have another game plan in mind. Could just be like, let's Giga Ramp. Sereth Viper's Fang. Interesting. They just really just went and got her back, huh? Hey man, you do you. Okay, this is 5 mana, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, don't know why they didn't play that out before combat. They clearly have a board wipe then. No, they're just gonna path to the festival? Okay, interesting. Not what I expected them to do. I was really expecting the Sereth. Guess they just really wanted to mana ramp. Hello, lovely. This wins us the game if we are allowed to play the game, essentially. If we are allowed to play any more spells. Which is the reason it wins is because I'm trying to think of a good way to explain it in like the most basic way. Because obviously Shark Typhoon's a win con, but it allows us to win this matchup because of a lot of stuff that like a poison proliferate green-white deck wants to do is attack with creatures. It's just attack with creatures over and over and over again. If we just find a way to block out those creatures, totally fine trade, by the way, because we have Shark Typhoon here. 7 open mana. And this is any non-creature spell, by the way. That's why Shark Typhoon is so good. If they equip Sereth, yep, we are going to bounce Sereth now. We can pay life because my opponent is my opponent's not really attacking my life total, they're attacking me with poison counters. And I think, basically from here on out, we just kind of control the pace of this game. My opponent needs to find ways to proliferate, ways to attack me with poison creatures that gets around Shark Typhoon, or maybe just remove Shark Typhoon. But either way, they are in a load of trouble. I do have to make sure that I'm playing carefully around the idea of a farewell. And not playing out all of my everything, I think. If I play out like my whole hand, like if I doubled down and was like, screw it, double vision, whirlwind of thought. I don't think I can actually play them at the same time, can I? That's what, 4, 5, 9 mana? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could if I draw a land, but like I should be careful to not do that because I'll need one or the other to probably push me across the finish line. My opponent is taking a very long time to think about this, and I don't really fault them. They're in a really tough position into what has now become a more controlling, slow-paced game. This Ascended Animist. They could -7 her.
Phyrexia is the end of evolution.
Don't think that's the right play, but they could -7 her. Alright, let's do this while they're targeting my Shark Typhoon. I don't know why they're saying oops. That literally doesn't make any sense to me. But hey, what do I know? Professor Onyx isn't really needed, and I don't need the land. I mean, we get to keep our 2 flyers, and now Nissa dies, essentially. Can't really do anything right now. Okay, if I tap like this, can I hold open white, blue? White, blue, blue. If I just hold up all of those, then... So that's white, blue, blue? So if I do that, I can do that. To be fair, technically speaking, I could have tapped however I needed for that. Because of, Well, we can do this, and then Neoform this into a 1-drop, right?
You can't resist the inevitable.
Oh, I'm sorry, future me. There's going to be a giant pause in recording there. I'll probably just have to put up a big old thing. Someone came to talk to me in real life, and, you know, I'm not going to stop the recording entirely and ruin a wonderful game because of someone coming to talk to me in real life. To date, when this video got recorded, it was about Mother's Day. Lands. Also, they really just really wanted to kill that Esper Sentinel, huh? Alright, well. Go ahead and slam down Nivy Boy, meaning we have access to the sound of 1,000 suns. Slam this down to re-up our card draw engines.
No time for a break.
Boop. Draw another card. Like a treasure token. They get to return it back to their hand, but it's the tempo play. It means they have to replay that. Boop. And boop. We have access to absorb. We can drop Vanishing Verse for it, so we can counterspell their commander again. And we're slowly gonna pull this out. Our opponent looks like they're conceding because they don't have anything. Funny enough, the Seraph just popped back up into their hand. I wasn't paying attention to what card was on top of their deck. I didn't realize that it was the Seraph that I used the -3 of Teferi on. Whew. Spicy game. My opponent actually got me pretty close to death. I think the Mortify, being able to take out the Squirrel's Hive, was amazing. And ironically enough, I'm pretty sure that just swinging in and then getting the Esper Sentinel was a pretty good play because it got out the Infectious Bite out of my opponent. And that could have caused problems in the future. It wasn't great at the time, but it could have been a good play. I don't know. Either way, GG's opponent. We are going first with a very keepable hand that allows us to maybe eventually Circuitous Route. I think we'll be naming black on this because it's like the only thing we don't have. Unfortunately, D-Spark does not hit Zimone and Dina, which is a little bit of a frustrating moment. But you cannot win them all. If we get an untapped land, Circuitous Route becomes S tier of a card in my starting hand. Thankfully, my opponent had a really slow start and didn't have like a mana dork on turn 1. No Gilded Goose or nothing. Alright, is Gilded Goose a 2-drop? I don't remember. There's so many good 1-drop mana dorks that I always forget what colors they tap for. I don't think we have Birds of Paradise in this format, though. And by this format, I mean Arena. I really hope we draw an untapped source. We did not. We draw a Chromatic Lantern, though, which does mean that Thran Portal can now tap without hurting me, which is a little bit of a weird one. Oh, no, never mind. It does just do the thing. Alright, well, we're just gonna throw that back in their deck real quick. I don't want you to have that.
Hide from the world, and it not so fast.
I don't want you to have that. Goodbye, Zimone and Dina. I know how powerful you are. We will be able to Circuitous Route and then plus Teferi on this upcoming turn, if we so choose. Vampire Spawn. 2/3. Not exactly scary, but...
You know what? I'm not done yet.
Narset. Oh, old friend. Do this and then go get, like, Baldur's Gate and then, like, Amir Gate, I guess. Untap. It doesn't really matter what we untap. They all tap for any color now. With Chromatic Lanterns. Unless my opponent gets rid of the lantern, I'm pretty much fine. When this dies, you draw a card and lose a life. Yep, seems like they're kind of going in hard on the... just draw bunches of cards. Shenanigans. We do get to play Niv after this, which will be pretty nice. Go ahead and draw.
Skip to the good part.
Blow up their Watcher. It does get to draw them a card, but I'm not exactly scared of that. End turn, just untap 2 random things. Doesn't really matter. We have 4 open mana, allowing us to do stuff like Notion Rain, Prismari Command, and basically just decimate my opponent's everything. My opponent is dead unless they kill Niv. Loom Shrieker. What do you even have down there? Lands? It is target permanent. It doesn't say non-land permanent. Yeah, I was gonna say, if I were them, I'd probably just grab a land. Gain them some life. Profit. We are basically just going to crush them under heal now, though. We got Niv-Mizzet pay rune to land. Oh, okay. Well, let's draw a card. Go ahead and kill that. Let's go ahead and deal 2 damage to something and then draw and discard 2. Plunk. Draw 2, discard 2. We will discard Death Sprout's not great, and D-Spark's not really doing it. Kill the Novice Occultist. So they just had to sacrifice their entire board state to kill Niv. Because that's what Niv-Mizzet does. Fair and balanced card. Very fair and balanced. Also, our Teferi is now able to once again put Zimone and Dina underneath the deck. They have so many cards in graveyards, we can just hard counter it. We can just play our other Niv-Mizzet. Go ahead and draw a card so we can untap some stuff here. We have played our land for turn, so we don't really feel the need to do anything. Just untap some lands so we have some more mana. Also have great ways to protect Niv-Mizzet if they go for a multicolor removal spell. Which they might have. It's much more likely in a Zimone and Dina deck than like a mono black deck. Whoop, wrong button. I don't want you to have that. I don't really know what it does, but I don't want you to have it. I don't want to run out into a board wipe. I really don't want to run out into a board wipe. I think running into a board wipe here is probably one of the scariest things that could happen, so we're just going to play it slowly and patiently.
Ooh, a battle. I'm all tingly. This ought to be good.
Oh, hi. That's really nice. Yeah, we already plussed him. Let's do that then. You, and then sorry, Kaikar. You gotta go, bud. Doesn't really matter what we untap. We just kind of win from here. With Dovin's Veto as protection, I am not really scared. See if we can't get anything out of them. Drop the Riverglide pathway because we don't care. And let's see, do they have a protection spell? They do! That protects it for one whole turn, opponent. Have you considered that I literally just like have all of my cards in my graveyard that I can just kind of replay over and over again? Oh, it clicked. It clicked. I don't mean to be toxic about it, but you cannot replay your commander there. You can see that I had 2 different removal spells in my graveyard alone, not even counting what I had in hand. Yeah, like you could, like I had Drown in the Loch and Death Sprout both visible. Is that visible to you? I don't know if it shows up on their screen like this, but I know they can check my graveyard. Like that is always like legal and allowed. But either way, GG's opponent, you got pretty unlucky, I'm not gonna lie. And I think that'll probably be the last one. Let's wrap it up with an outro. So, what's the final verdict on Niv-Mizzet Supreme, aka Niv Taco? Overall, I really like it. I think it's really fun. I think it's a much more interesting version of the other Niv-Mizzet. The other Niv-Mizzet is just kind of a card draw engine. This one allows you to play around your deck in a much more interesting way. Figuring out, okay, what cards do I want to discard? Can I get rid of lands in favor of keeping more spells in hand? Or do I just want to drop this spell so I can just play it from my graveyard? Or do I want to be able to play this spell twice? I think all in all, it's a really fun and interesting way of playing the commander. I think it can really surprise your opponents with the amount of removal you have, and I think overall it's super fun. Do I think it's like top tier, S tier? Actually, God, yes. I think this is going to be a top tier commander. I think it's going to take a lot of finagling for you, dear viewer, to find whichever version of the deck you like the most. Find a version of the deck that synergizes with you, that has the right amount of removal, board wipes, planeswalkers, ramp, yada, 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 yada. But I think that this card is going to be insane. I think this card's probably going to get shoved straight up into Hell Q before long, right next to the other Niv-Mizzets. I think almost all the Nivs on Arena are just going to be stuck up together fighting it out to see who's the best Niv. Personal opinion, I think that this Niv-Mizzet's probably, he's top 3. That doesn't really take much. It's really him, the other 5-color Niv, and then Payroon. Personally, I like Niv-Mizzet Payroon the best, but I am incredibly biased, as I'm sure you know, because I am an Izzet lover at heart, who is also just a really big Jeskai enjoyer. That's why there's this little pile of Jeskai down here. But yeah, I think it's great. I think it has so much great internal synergy. I think it has so many great answers, and I think that you can just really, really make this deck shine. I think fixing your mana base is the most important thing. I think this deck will be very expensive for anyone to build. I think that you need to be really careful about how you build it. I think most of the tri-lands are things you want to be able to have. Maybe not all of them because they come in tapped pretty often, but like quite a few of them for just really solid mana fixing. I think a lot of the shock lands will be incredibly important. I think that making sure that you have shock lands that tap for like blue in another color or black in another color or white in another color is probably going to be the most important, because of stuff like all of the really powerful black-white cards, the really powerful blue-white cards, and the really powerful blue-green cards. A lot of those are really solid 2-drops that allow you to ramp really effectively or just remove really effectively, and just getting most of the shock lands that cover those colors is probably your best bet. I'm talking about this because I don't play 5-color decks that often, because I often have trouble with the mana bases because I don't really have enough of a mana base. I very recently just hit there. I do think that the pathways are always a really good option for these types of decks. I do think that you need to be a bit careful with pathways, though, because if you play the pathway on the wrong side, so to speak, you will basically have screwed yourself for most of the game. So be careful when it's in your opening hand and really be like, okay, I really need to figure out which color this needs to be played on. That is important with the pathways. But overall, like I said, really great deck. Probably going to be up in Hell Q, or at least high A tier Q, you know, probably fighting off with the other Niv-Mizzets. I think it's really great. I think it's super fun. And I hope that if you liked this, you like, comment, subscribe, and all that cool stuff. It really helps me out. It really helps the channel out. And I hope to catch you in the next one.